thinking about Keiichi's undertones when he's talking to Chie-sensei there.
Yeah?
I'm wondering if maybe Chie was among those that...
Among them.
Among those that... that Mio intimated would be part of the conspiracy. And if maybe Keiichi was like, I need you to make sure you do something about it. You know.
Hey, Teach, make sure this guy dies for me.
Right. I might be reading too much into that, but I'm keeping my lines of communication open here. Keeping my theories viable. Mystery update. Watched a really good mystery anime this past weekend.
Oh, yeah? Which one?
It was called Everything Becomes F. The Perfect Insider, based off of a novel series. And the anime was really great. Mystery was really fun. It's an actual like fair play locked room mystery, and I was like, oh yeah, this is great.
Recommend us.
Recommend.
We recommend it, and if you recommend any mystery anime to us that are like good fair play mysteries, we will probably watch them.
It's also based off of an actual like novel series, the S&M series, right?
Yep.
Professor
Professor Saikawa and his student Moe.
And his student Moe. Yep.
Is it
Moe
Hiroshi
Nishino Sono.
Mori? Let me double check that.
Anyway, I know where this isn't a mystery game, but I figure the overlap in audience is important enough.
It's kind of a mystery.
It's kind of.
What's? Oh, it's gonna kill me. That's not the author's name.
Well, while you look at that, I'm gonna go ahead and load this chapter here.
Subete ga F ni naru is by... It is by Hiroshi Mori. I got it right. I just mistyped it when I was Googling.
Lol, got.
Okay.
The die of fate had been cast. Reporting to a public agency, which we'd kept being warned could instead result in something far worse for Sadako if we didn't have the evidence first. And just like that. Had I failed? Had I let my emotions get the better of me in that moment? Maybe I should have stayed silent and left everything to Mion, since she had been relatively calm. I'm like, it's possible that there is more information and context that Keiichi's lacking here, but I find it hard to judge a kid for taking action, to taking what action is in front of him to help out an abused friend when none of the adults around him seem to be doing so.
Yep.
You know, I find that hard to fault.
Yeah.
Like
the
again,
mindset he's taking in it is not necessarily the healthiest.
Right,
but the like actions that it's driving him to so far don't seem that wild.
And again, I'm not saying that maybe there's some other context. Like he clearly knows what Coach thinks about it, at least, which might be a valid. What I don't know about valid, but like could be a reason to not intervene. But I don't know, Keiichi. I can't. His mindset is a bit warped, but I can't really fault him for making this decision. Remember the punishment game where we had to badmouth Curry and how me saying anything would have made it worse? Sadako told us to leave the talking to her. Maybe it was the same thing here. I was impulsive, so maybe I should have just shut up and looked at the floor. But it was too late to lament it. The die I had thrown wouldn't be coming back into my hands. All I could do was pray for something good to happen. A nat 20 on the metaphysical saving throw.
Keiichi-kun, you did everything you could, so leave it to the teachers now, okay?
Are you sure? Keiichi nervously bouncing a bat.
I think there are more things I could do.
I don't know. I'm just like, I'm getting a feeling here. Everything I could? If I really gave it everything I had, if I had really struggled, I would have dragged Sadako out of her home last night and hidden her in an abandoned house somewhere. I didn't, so that means I didn't do everything I could.
Stop thinking about it, all right? You're being a little too persistent, Keiichi-kun. At this rate, you'll collapse.
Right, and again, it's that difference between putting in like worry and effort that is helpful and then worrying yourself while accomplishing nothing, which is not helpful to those in bad situations and not helpful to yourself. Just leave me alone. I left her with those words and stared lazily up at the ceiling. I wondered if I'd really got Chie-sensei to understand. Would the public agency intervene and solve everything within the day? Would they acknowledge the abuse and guarantee her safety? I wonder if I had really gotten Chie-sensei to understand what I meant. Right, Chie-sensei? You understand what I mean, right? After lunch break, our afternoon classes were mostly self-study. Teacher came back to the classroom occasionally, but then the phone in the lounge would ring and she'd have a long conversation with the caller. Everyone in class got the feeling they knew what those phone calls were about. Sensei came trotting back into the classroom. I am really sorry for all the phone calls recently. Let us call it a day. President, please lead the class.
Everybody stand up.
It looked to me like Sensei had been wearing a dark expression ever since lunch break. It wasn't a very relieving expression. It wouldn't be, even if Sensei 100% understood the situation and passionately explained it to the other person. At the end, the Child Consultation Center, as a public agency, would be the ones to decide whether to get her to safety. Sensei understood that as well as us, and that's why she looked so unreliable right now.
Kei-chan, let's go home. I don't think anyone feels like having the club today. Mi-chan, it's no fun if someone's not here.
Shion, why are you acting out of character? Let me help you out. I don't think it's actually Shion right now, but still. The idea of Rena knowing somehow and running wingman for Shion trying to be her sister is very fun to me. Rena was right. It was no fun for us if someone was missing. If the teacher's expression had shown more promise, then maybe we could have gone home more comfortably, but I couldn't let myself feel relieved. I couldn't be naive and tell myself all I can do is pray now that the dice have been cast. Just in case they didn't get her to safety and decided to wait and see again, I would need to take further measures. We've asked the people who could do something official already. Then there was one more place that was worth asking for help. She might laugh it off, or I might be right, and I could be endangering my own life. But I'd try. Oh, now is he making a... Oh, maybe Mio did just say, hey, the Sonozakis. Mio, is it okay if I stop by your place today? You've got a lot of manga, right? I want to borrow a bunch of them.
Huh? Sure, I guess.
There was an ominous meaning behind my words, so Mion realized what I really meant right away. Wanted to talk about something alone. That's what I meant.
Mi-chan, Keiichi-kun, let's go home.
Where's Rika? We haven't seen her yet. Rena already had her shoes on and was waving to us from the schoolyard. Rika just kind of noped out of existence. Save the world. My final message. Mion's house was gigantic in every way imaginable. The house itself was vaguely old-fashioned, traditional Japanese house, but the yard, I guess, or their plot of land, was enormous. It easily convinced me that they really were major landowners with Hinamizawa under their thumb. Okay, so Mio did just go the expector route and be like, hey, yeah, that's probably the Sonozakis. Maybe I was reading too much into the teacher thing. We'll leave it on the table for now. Mio brought me some through the guest room, and a servant brought us some tea. There was a servant here? They weren't around when Shion was pretending to be Mion in Chapter 2. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Or is Keiichi mistaking Oreo for a servant right now? Is that like, oh, dearie, let me bring you both some tea. It's like, well, you got a really nice servant here.
Immediately on the execution list.
But that's interesting that there are other people that are meant to be here. Well, you really are rich, huh? You've even got housekeepers.
Grandma and I are the only ones who live here.
Keiichi, no! No, Keiichi!
I wouldn't be able to do everything myself.
The servant left, telling us it was 5 o'clock, then withdrew with soft footsteps. Keiichi!
I think the implication was
that they do have a servant.
They're the only ones who live here, But they do have housekeepers who come by to help out because
During the day. Okay.
because Mion wouldn't be able to do everything herself.
Oh,
Grandma's
okay.
too old to do stuff. Mion's busy
Right.
with school and so on. So got to have someone
Got
tend
it.
to the grounds.
Got it.
We have people come in to take care of Grandma and clean 2 or 3 times a week.
Interesting. I wonder how that worked with Shion's plan.
They come in rotations of 3 or 4, so there's someone here almost every day. Only until evening, though. Oh, and if we're having a party or something where we need more help, we call up different people.
Good to know. If you had the money to hire all those people, then just take Sadako in. I glared at her as I thought that. Mion seemed to catch on immediately.
Oh, sorry.
It's fine. I know it's not a money problem.
Just to be clear, my family may be rich, but it's not money that I can use freely for myself, okay? I don't want you to misunderstand that.
It kind of looked like I was bullying her. Mion had been apologizing to me a lot lately. Was Mion the sort of person who would do that this much? Maybe it's just that I've been looking so grim lately.
So, what's up? You had something to talk about, right?
I have something pretty serious to discuss, Mion. This will be sudden, and you might be surprised, but I want you to hear me out.
What?
Oh, I'll give you a way out first. Even if what I say is true, you don't need to admit to it. You're allowed to play dumb. But I want you to listen until the end. I have something to say to the next leader of what is still the most important of the 3 families of Onagafuchi Village, Mion Sonozaki. At first, Mion looked like she had no idea what I was saying, but at hearing the whole sentence and putting it together, she reacted.
Where did you hear that?
It doesn't really matter. I definitely couldn't tell her who told me. Takano-san, you told me not to, but please forgive me. This is why I asked you about it, after all.
I was surprised just that you'd heard of Onagafuchi Village, Kei-chan, but you seem to know a lot of things, both true and false, about me too.
Yeah, true and false. I really might just have the wrong impression here, but I'm okay with that, so just listen to me. And if it really is true...
I don't know what you're getting at, Kei-chan, but let me say this beforehand. You've got a big misunderstanding. So, if it were possible, I wouldn't want to hear what you're about to say. Because even if you said it, I can't do anything to help you. Still, if talking about it will lighten your burden even a little, I'll listen. I'm only just going to listen. Nothing more will happen. Are you okay with that?
Yeah. Mion seemed to know what kind of thing I'd be talking about. She warned me that doing so would be fruitless. That much was obvious. If what I was going to say was true, then the Sonozaki family would be the masterminds behind the string of freak deaths that have been occurring every year in Hinamizawa. And there it is, out in the open. I guess now is the thing, do I commit to my old theory?
Yeah.
I guess it's important that there's a small differentiation here. I think Mion is involved in the freak deaths, but I don't know if that's in her capacity as the leader of the Sonozaki family, or as just Mion Sonozaki. If that, I don't know if there's a distinction to be made, or if that's even, if that's a distinction without a difference. But, I don't know, I'm still, I'm still backing my horse all the way here. You know that stuff about Oyashiro-sama's curse, right? Mio nodded a little. No one knows what it is or why it happens. Even if each incident is solved, the string of deaths and accidents as a whole is still a mystery. But there's one thing connecting them all, and that's how the targets are always enemies of the village.
Seems like it.
Mion spoke as if it didn't relate to her. That was fine. She didn't have to admit it. For now, I just wanted her to stay quiet and listen to me. The day after tomorrow is Watanagashi, is it not? It seems like they are, but, I don't understand how Jiro would be an enemy of the village. I guess maybe because Mio is making herself an enemy of the village and he's her partner and enabling her? Maybe that's the only contortion I could see. Has the sacrifice for this year's curse been decided already? Mio didn't answer. Her expression remained the same too. Like she said, she was just quietly listening. Sorry. The promise was that you'd just listen, so it's weird for me to ask a question, huh? Mion gave me a look she'd never given me before. A faraway look, a sympathetic one. She didn't nod, she just smiled faintly and listened to me. If this year's curse isn't going to be on Sadako's uncle, then please change it to him. Last year it was her aunt, right? It's in the right order, so it wouldn't be weird.
You're right. It seems like there's an order.
I mean, after her aunt died to the curse last year, the abandoned Sadako fled into the town for a whole year. Why wouldn't a guy like that definitely be on Oyashiro-sama's list next? There shouldn't be any issue with choosing him for this year.
I see. If he were to die from the curse this year, no one would see anything unusual about it.
I heard that Oyashiro-sama's curse is, well, no matter how I looked at it, I wasn't sure whether I should continue. No matter how I tried, the words wouldn't come out.
The string of freak deaths in Hinamizawa, also called Oyashiro-sama's curse, you're saying they're incidents perpetrated by the village, carried out by the three families at the Sonozaki's instructions. Is that it?
I don't care one bit whether or not you have anything to do with it. I'm just saying, if you have any way of communicating with whoever decides the targets of the curse, I just want you to tell them to choose Sadako's uncle. Please.
Everything you've been saying has been terrible. If the freak death incidents in Hinamizawa were carried out by the will of the Sonozaki family, that would mean the main culprit would be me, wouldn't it?
Also, we know this is Mion because Oreo is around. Or at least, well, no, we haven't seen Oreo, but the servants are still coming. And presumably Shion wouldn't let the servants keep coming if they didn't have her grandmother to tend to.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna assume we're actually talking to Mion here.
I would have chosen the target of the curse, given the instructions, killed many people, and gotten rid of others. You're calling me a murderer, Kei-chan.
I didn't say that. Didn't you listen to me? I don't care whether you're the one behind the murders or not. I just don't. Even if you were the culprit, it doesn't change the fact that you're my friend. It doesn't matter at all. If the police were chasing you, I'd come to help. I'd make you an alibi and even help you escape. Did not do that. Did not do that. Although he was consistent that Mion was his friend to the very end. Like he's maybe overestimating his commitment to the Bitment here, but he is not lying that until the very end he sees Mion as his friend and is not someone beyond trying to reach out to.
Mm-hmm.
Much to Shion's annoyance. Because we're friends and comrades, aren't we? Mion looked surprised for a while. She was dumbfounded.
Mion realizing that she gets one more free kill now that Keiichi can get her an alibi.
Right?
Now you're declaring yourself complicit? Kei-chan, that's pretty bold of you.
Come on, don't interrupt me. Sadako's uncle. Choose him for...
Stop right there, Kei-chan. I want to start on dinner soon, so I'd like to leave things at this.
Mion! I then realized that my cheeks were wet with tears. They slid down my chin and fell drip-drop onto the tatami mat.
It's like I said at the start. You've got a big misunderstanding. Oyashiro-sama's curse is just that. Even if there were people behind those incidents, they don't have anything to do with the Sonozaki family, or me either.
Right. I understand that. It's just,
It was touching to hear such a desperate plea, Kei-chan, but that was all it was. Even if I wanted to help, I can't. You understand that too, right?
Yeah, I do.
But now I know how you feel so well it hurts. If I really were, like you said, the one controlling the three families and choosing the sacrifices every year, I'd probably grant your wish.
Probably. But now she can't do that. Unfortunately, by trying to bring it up to her, you've ensured that she can't do it now. So, dollars to donuts, it is just going to be Tomatake and Miho again.
I don't know, why can't she now?
that's a good point. Why can't she? Why was I thinking that?
Because someone knows and could expose her, but
Well,
Keiichi,
Keiichi
but-
doesn't know that wasn't already the plan,
yeah.
right? I guess you could say like, I guess Oishiro-sama really did pick them this year. Interesting. I'll have to consider it. Mion!
But the reality is different. I'm just Mion Sonozaki. My family may be the subject of all sorts of bad rumors about controlling Hinamizawa from the shadows, but
The shadows?
the shadows.
The shadows.
But we have nothing to do with the freak death incidents. We may have been a little extreme during the dam war, but that's all. We would never do something so insane as to kill people.
That's... Don't say such sad things. Right now, at least, I don't care. Why can't you just be nice and lie to me?
Kei-chan, you're free to believe what you like. If I lied to you now, you'd be convinced Sadako would be freed the night after tomorrow, and you'd be able to shed much of your burden. However, reality is harsh. Sadako's uncle will survive beyond that day. He'd still be alive next week, and the week after that. You need to prepare yourself for that. I don't want you coming to me the day after Watanagashi and demanding to know why he wasn't killed.
Mion. Mion stood up slowly and closed the sliding door to keep out the wind that had grown chilly.
Was it Mio-san? Did she give you all those ideas? She really likes to misunderstand things about Hinamizawa.
I also agree on that. She really does like to misunderstand things about Hinamizawa. She is coincidentally correct.
Well, we can let her have her fun. But I don't really want her influencing you, Kei-chan. Jeez. This is why outsiders are no good.
Hey, Takano-san has nothing to do with it.
Right. Don't worry. Even though I know she told you about it, Kei-chan, nothing's gonna happen. It's not like Mio-san will be chosen for this year's curse. Besides, we don't even know for sure if the curse will happen this year. Maybe it was all just a pile of unfortunate coincidences.
Well, thank you for listening nonetheless. If you aren't connected to the Zero Deaths at all, then that must have been an uncomfortable conversation for you. I'll apologize for it.
I see. You'll apologize for it.
Mion said she didn't have much time, but she still brought me to the gate. She said she had a meeting or something today about Sunday's Watanagashi festival, so there'd be a lot of people from the town council and the festival committee coming. Interesting. That also gives us a good indication of when Oreo must have been killed. She would have had to have been alive for a meeting like this.
Yeah, she'd be part of the planning and people would be surprised if she wasn't.
Yep. And she would have had to have been alive on the festival day itself as well, because she made an appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Or would... I don't know if we know for sure she made an appearance, but I feel like she would have. Despite her day being so busy, she still listened to what I had to say.
If there's a God in heaven, then he probably understands how strongly you feel.
Yeah, how it feels to righteously want someone else to be dead. I'm really sorry for being so weird today. You can pretend like this discussion never happened if you want.
Okay, I'll forget about it.
Okay, see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
I had really only spent a short time with Mion. Talking to her made me think, though. It was clear that what Takano-sen had told me, at least, wasn't a complete fabrication. If Mion really was unconnected to the incidents, then she probably wouldn't have listened to me so quietly. She heard me out until I was done without making any quips, and I wanted to think that was proof. I did kind of feel like I was grasping at straws. Of course, thinking back on it, it was a terrible thing to discuss. I mean, I went to my friend's house, called her a serial murderer, then told her to kill Sadako's uncle. I was the only one talking that whole time. Mion quietly listened to everything I had to say like a pastor listening to a confession. She could have gotten angry partway through, told me off and to go wash my face in miso soup and come back later. But she didn't. Was that proof that Mion's family, the Sonozakis, were the masterminds? Or was she just listening because she felt sorry for me kind of going crazy? I didn't know which it was. But it was the one effort I could make at the moment. It was another form of insurance. Should worse come to worse and the public agency decided to wait and see. It was a completely useless resistance, literally grasping at straws. Literally. Literally. Look at all these straws I'm holding.
Keiichi holding a pile
Actually,
of
that's
straws.
an interesting use case. How does the word literally work with, like, not figurative speech, but, like, established, like, metaphors?
I mean, it still wouldn't mean literally.
Yeah, it
'cause
wouldn't,
It's
would
a
it?
metaphor, not literal.
Yeah.
However, literally just means figuratively now, so it just
No,
means
it doesn't.
figuratively.
What are you talking about? I get using literally as a something to amplify, something to what's the word I'm looking for here? Using it like a very, right? Like as a way to add emphasis.
Mm-hmm.
But we all understand that's not what the word literally actually means. Right?
What does it mean for a word not to mean a thing and yet to mean that? We use it in that way and it's understood.
We use it in that way and it's understood, but like we're deliberately flouting its intentional usage, right? Like that there is a level of understanding there that has to be gotten into. By using the word literally in a way that intentionally flouts what we understand its definition to be, there's a level of understanding that needs to happen between communicator and communicatee. It's one of those. You can't pretend that that's something we don't do all the time. Like when we very clearly say something that's the opposite of what we actually mean, while saying it in a very obvious tone of voice and making eye contact to make sure we're really understood. It's not like those words suddenly mean the opposite of what we're saying.
I see. So
Yeah.
your theory is it's something like sarcasm.
Something
it isn't
akin.
sarcasm, but it's akin to sarcasm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if literally just means figuratively now, then I will pull my hair out. Literally.
I would not recommend pulling it out.
I've got a handful of it right now, and I'm prepared to do it. Just to make sure we're clear that when I said literally, I meant literally.
But what did literally mean?
Sensei said that if she reported it to the child consultation center, they'd have to respond on the same day. Could they already be in the middle of responding to it now? Sadako came to school tomorrow morning all energetic, then everything would just be a needless fear. Why couldn't tomorrow come faster? That night was unusually hot and humid, and I couldn't get to sleep. I said all that to Sensei. They couldn't possibly decide to wait and see again this year. Sadako, what was it like for her tonight? Had she tasted the end of her nightmare, enjoying a night of liberation? I actually put my hands together and prayed to my futon. Prayed into my futon. That's different. I should make sure. Prayed into my futon. Oh, futon. Actually, you know what? Praying to the futons might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, because the whole Oishiro-sama thing, like,
Yeah.
if you gotta pick a god and pray, you may as well go for the item that's associated with the one who carries out the curse that you're trying to have target some guy.
Yeah,
Like,
I can see it.
there's worse directions to turn. Good morning, Keiichi-kun.
Oh, hello, girlfriend number one. Good morning.
Thank goodness. I thought you overslept today, too. Your mom said you'd gone on ahead yesterday, and then you weren't at school. I was worried you had gotten heat stroke halfway there.
Your mom said you'd gone on ahead yesterday. Hold on, let's... Real quick here. His mom said he'd already left?
Yeah, apparently.
That's not weird. That's weird, right? That's weird. His breakfast was still there. He was clearly still up in his room asleep. And his mom's like, oh yeah, he already left.
Yeah, seems odd.
Okay. Just want to make sure we know how weird that is, that his mom is going around saying that. Right? Right? We're all convinced that that's weird? Okay. I'm sorry. It's just like we were ready to move on without acknowledging it. And I'm like, hold on. No, that's...
Wait.
Because that means Rena talked to his mom yesterday.
I'm trying to put the timeline together, because... Right, because yesterday was the day that he talked to Mio and so on. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I forgot if there was a one day in between then and the day that He talked to the teacher, but there was not.
Which means Rena... What on earth? Okay, we're just gonna leave that there because I have no idea what else that means at the moment. I was worried you'd gotten heat stroke. Did you read the heat stroke part?
I don't recall.
Okay.
I'll read it again.
Okay.
I was worried that you had gotten heat stroke halfway there.
Yeah. I'm very sorry for all the worry I caused you yesterday.
Hey, good morning.
What's up, my bitches? Oh, sure. It's okay when Mion says it, but not when I say it? Okay.
That's correct.
How you doing, girlfriend number 2?
What's up, my bitches? Keiichi included.
Oh. You're not wrong. I just wish you wouldn't say it so happily.
Mi-chan, good morning.
Now, here's the important thing in this double girlfriend scenario. Are those two also girlfriends, or are they just both Keiichi's girlfriends, and they're just kind of like friends with one another?
I think the latter. It's just that there's a small town. There aren't that many boyfriends to go around, so country girls make do.
Right. Please don't say that again. Keiichi's just doing a public service by pulling double boyfriend duty, really. I see. No, it makes sense.
Hinamizawa's eligible boyfriend.
Hinamizawa's most eligible boyfriend.
Have you seen any other teenage boys around his age?
There was one last year around. I wonder what happened to him.
Yeah, see? There's a shortage.
We heard one about someone who was a sharpshooter, but he sounded more college age. Like we have heard people talk about other like boys like slightly older than Keiichi, but still not adults. Just they're not really around. Anyway, sorry about that weird existential topic on multiple girlfriends. You both seem okay with it, though.
Are you all right? You look really tired. Oh.
Bill, right. Wasn't there a big business meeting with all the people on the town council yesterday?
They only called it that. It was more like a party. We have the festival every year, right? We wouldn't have any annoying meetings at this point. Are you going to help out with the festival this afternoon, then? Yep. I have to do a meet and greet with all sorts of people in Grandma's place.
It's all sort of a party then, huh? We wouldn't have any annoying meetings like that at this point. I'm torn. On the one hand, is that when they choose who the victim is? On the other hand, if you're trying to get a murder that clean and get away with it, you probably need to plan it further in advance than 2 days.
Besides, they already started setting up for the festival.
Our morning conversation was lighthearted as usual. It looked like Mion had thankfully forgotten about how I'd barged into her house yesterday with that crazy talk. The more I think back on it, the more I felt like I'd really said something terrible to her. I was really thoughtless, and it wouldn't have been weird if she yelled at me. It was highly possible Takano-san had exaggerated her story. I think that our comrade and friend, Mion, the young leader of the Sonozakis, one of the 3 families effectively controlling Hinamizawa, was pulling the strings behind the serial death incidents. It was a little unbelievable. I think one of the misapprehensions Keiichi's under is how much power the other families have, which allows Mion to say fully that, no, you're under some misapprehensions here. It's just the Sonozakis. But if there was even 1% chance that it was true, then what I said yesterday to Mion might have been a success. Yes, it was no more than 1 in 100. But as long as that chance isn't 0, that little bit of effort might have brought the chances of saving Sadako up by even a tiny bit. At least I'd made that effort. After yesterday ended, I was sure I'd done everything I possibly could. If there was something else I could do, it was probably just to clap my hands and pray that Sadako's uncle would be killed by the curse. Hey God, tinkle tinkle hoy. I hope Sadako makes it today.
Me too. Sensei is doing things for her, right? I'm sure it'll be fine. My aunt is a welfare agent in the Hinamizawa district. I gave her a call last night. I didn't know your aunt was a welfare officer. What happened?
Her aunt, huh? Is it her aunt or her aunt?
What?
Is that Mion's aunt or Mion's aunt in the sense that all of her uncles run stores around?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Did you tell her about Sadako-chan? Yep. Chie-sensei called the Child Consultation Center right after we talked to her. A child welfare officer apparently visited before the night was over. My aunt said that they were going to pay visits at regular intervals from now on.
regular intervals? So you mean intervals where they have time to prepare and know in advance? Enough with the dumb little stuff. I want to know what happened to Sadako. They get her safe?
My aunt wasn't that informed about it. I was supposed to keep this a secret anyway. Her telling me was a big breach of ethics in the first place.
Damn, that makes me feel even worse.
Let's get to school.
Right. Discussing this more would just make us feel worse. It's far quicker to go to school and see if Sadako was safe or not. Three of us nodded and ran off towards school. Was Sadako safe? What measures had the Child Consultation Center taken? I didn't care what, as long as we could go back to our peaceful life with Sadako today. It didn't matter to me. The shoe racks in the entrance. Rana took a peek at Sadako's shoe cubby.
Ah, Sadako's shoes are here. They're here.
Kei-chan,
Kei-chan, Sadako came. Thank goodness.
we don't know if anything happened just because she came to school. We can't know anything until we see her face. We trotted forwards to the classroom. The classroom was lively, as it usually was in the morning. Sadako, where are you?
Meep, she's right here.
It's too early in the morning to be so frickin' loud. Would you please keep it down a little bit?
Sadako-chan, are you okay?
Buster Wolf. Wait,
All of our friends crowded around Sadako excitedly.
A probation officer came, right? How did it go?
huh? Who was it that called them? I swear it was quite a mess, you know.
It was the teacher. You were absent for so long. Of course she was worried. Sadako said,
Told you I'm fine.
under her breath. She was trying to overcome all the suffering on her own.
It was a big bother to both me and my uncle. That person just barged in on us silently. Jeez.
Everyone was worried about you, Sadako. Don't say it was a bother.
Oh, geez, anyway, what happened?
Nothing happened. My cold got better, so I came back to school. That is all. I can't take too much time off from now on because then you'll all worry about me. Oh.
What was Sadako saying?
What happens to, well, your uncle?
What? Why would anything happen to him? He's fine. Oh, he admitted there were some misunderstandings and we both apologized.
Yeah?
Tug. Rika-chan grabbed the back of my collar and pulled me away. What is it, Rika-chan? Rika-chan silently dragged me all the way into the hallway. Rika-chan, what did that mean?
Sadako said nothing was happening and chased them away.
That idiot, but why? Somewhere in my mind I thought I might turn her out like this. Sadako didn't ask for anyone's help. She didn't hide behind anyone. She was trying to ride out the pain. She wanted to Soshitoshi prove that if he came back to them, she wouldn't need to hide behind him anymore. But Coach said a probation officer could bring her to safety in an emergency, even if it's against her wishes. However much Sadako denies the abuse, it's a fact, right? Chie-sensei finally came. Her expression was far from cheerful. Yes, you are right, Maebara-kun. If the child welfare officer determines that it's an emergency, they have the right to immediately take them to safety, regardless of the affected party's intent. Then why? Why is Sadako's intent being respected so much? It's weird. Why don't they put her into safety? Why don't they just ignore what the child is saying to them? Well, after looking into it from many angles, that is what the Okonomiya Child Consultation Center determined. What the hell is that? Since didn't you say it was gonna be alright since you definitely saved her? What's the meaning of this? This doesn't make any sense. Answer me, damn it! Keiichi, this is actually the third time someone has reported Sadako's child abuse. It happened twice in the past, too.
Oh, voice swap. Okay.
Do you want to take...
Keiichi, this is actually the third time someone has reported Sadako's child abuse. It happened twice in the past, too.
Furude-san! Sensei tried to stop her, but Rika-chan went on speaking anyway. Twice before? Her decided to say wait and see after reporting it the winter before last, but that happened before then, too?
Sadako's father, who died, wasn't her real father.
What? Rika-chan, that's... What? I'm stunned at the sudden revelation. I had no idea what Rika-chan wanted to tell me, but it seemed really important, so I couldn't get a word in either. Wait, so... Sadako was already living with a foster family? The Hojos that died?
I will find out.
What? Oh.
Sadako's mother remarried. She brought Sadako and Satoshi with her, so they weren't related by blood to their father.
Which means they're not related by blood to her father's brother, either.
Sure does.
Oh, that's fucked up. So what, she's his step-niece?
Yep.
Is this, oh no, this is Keiichi relating this.
Oh, wait. No, I
Or
bet,
is this still Rika going on?
I bet this is the things that Rika's saying.
Okay.
Okay. Satoshi was a good kid, one who listened politely to what adults told him. He was immediately welcomed by their new father and was loved. But Sadako was different. She was rebellious, she told lies, she played pranks. Her stepfather didn't like her at all.
What? So what do you mean?
Even before she was given to their uncle and his wife, Sadako didn't have a very good relationship with her family. Of course, her stepfather didn't have any malicious intent at the start. At first, he must have worked hard to get his new daughter to accept him. But the young Sadako didn't make any effort at all toward that end. She was distant toward her stepfather and never opened her heart to him even a little. She just got on his nerves all the time with seemingly forced lies and pranks. Her father's discipline and punishment must have been loving at first, of course, but that too faded quickly.
I don't know because I wasn't in Hinamizawa at the time, but I learned this on the phone yesterday. Oh, I didn't know because I wasn't in Hinamizawa at the time, but I learned this on the phone yesterday. What story did you hear, Sensei? That Sadako-chan wanted to trick her parents, especially her stepfather, so she made up a false story and phoned the child consultation center herself. Sorry, I'm just kind of digesting how I feel about this.
Yeah, huh?
So if we're to believe that at face value, then as one of Sadako's pranks, she as a child called Child Protective Services to trick her parents, and as a child not fully understanding the consequences of that action. The other way to take that is that this is how it was presented to Child Protective Services when they actually did come.
Yep.
And that she did actually call them because she needed help. But her parents instead spun that story. And that's now become the accepted truth. Either way, that's not great. Because in the first instance, then it would seem like because of that first misunderstanding that they're holding it against her every other time afterwards, when she is just a child. And if it's the other way, then it seems like she learned very early on that child protective services will not help her. Right?
Yep.
Oh. Why are we getting so many sirens right by our door this past couple days? Hope it's not picking up on the recording, but if it is, make sure to complain in the comments section. We won't do anything to change it, but it will up our engagement metrics, so. She made up a story about hurting herself?
Sadako made a fake phone call to try and get rid of the father she hated.
Rika's saying that. Interesting. I wonder if Rika believes it, or if she's just reporting what the story is right now. Child welfare officers rushed...
Welfare officers rushed there and heard the story. Her father genuinely apologized for a few times when he had gone too far, and agreed to let the Child Welfare Center give him coaching. Related agencies looked into it quite a bit. They determined that Sadako-chan and her stepfather's hearts not being quite matched up was the cause of the incident. But they found another problem above that with Sadako-chan.
A problem with Sadako? What was it?
Sadako's mother. There were a few times where she had lived with de facto husbands, though those relationships didn't result in remarriage. From a young age, Sadako had been forced to call at least 2 or 3 people her father. At some point, Sadako's pranks escalated. She would spill food on purpose, turn over her plate, and even throw it. She would break the windows in the neighborhood and shoplift candy. She would put thumbtacks everywhere and set other traps to seriously hurt people. Not in the way she did now, just to get laughs.
Oh, shit.
She was also fond of telling lies that would be found out right away, and people got mad at her every time. But she never, ever changed her behavior. Please don't think Sadako-chan was a problem child. Sadako-chan was young. Those were acts of self-defense that she took so these unknown men wouldn't take her mother from her.
So Sadako as a child is getting bounced around from father to father.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have any perspective yet on why her mother is doing that. Taking it in an ungracious direction, maybe her mother was just seeing a lot of men. Taking it in a more sympathetic direction, it could be possible her mother was trying to find somewhere, or kept moving around because different men turned out to be abusive in different ways and wanted what's best for Sadako. Either way, from Sadako's perspective, what we see is her being yanked around from parent to parent and not really able to establish a relationship with anyone but her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And she's an angry kid. And acts out in the only ways in which she really has agency, right?
Yep.
That's... Because again, stuff like that doesn't scream to me like... It's important that it's all stuff that she knows will be found out immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's stuff where she wants to be caught. But... Fuck! God damn it, Sadako!
We finally get the dark side of, Sadako's trap building habits. Like, yeah, as a child, she got people injured by building all of these things, scattering thumbtacks around and so on and otherwise.
Just because she wanted... Was it that she wanted attention, or she wanted to purposely scare off other fathers?
Sounds like that from Rika's perspective.
From Rika's again, and this is what Rika's relating to us. We don't know if that's her perspective or if she's just relating the common understanding now. But
In regards to Sadoko's problematic behavior, child psychology experts from public institutions indicated her actions were to draw her mother's attention to herself.
Okay.
They acknowledged that she had a form of harmful emotional trauma and declared that she needed counseling and therapy from professionals. They didn't know whether that therapy had healed the wounds in her heart. Sadoko-chan purposely hurt herself and told them that she was being abused by her stepfather in an attempt to chase him out.
But in the end, her stepfather did abuse her, right?
No, all of the abuse had been made up by Sadoko-chan. Her stepfather, of course, may have scolded her in a somewhat emotional way, but it was nothing out of the ordinary. Sadoko had lied to chase away her stepfather, and they saw through her right away and found out that Sadoko had issues.
Oh. Could it be that that's why the winter before last, they decided to wait and see?
Yes. The Child Consultation Center had all their past records, so they needed to act carefully in case Sadoko was lying.
Oh, what the hell? So what? Sadako might be telling a lie, so they needed to be careful. So how does that mean that they just end up waiting and seeing?
It was the girl who cried wolf.
That fable about telling a lie once, making others unwilling to believe you later. That's bullshit. The past has nothing to do with this, does it? And what's really happening right now is important. Sadako's being abused by your uncle. Why is something like that happened in the past getting in the way of helping her now? Neither Sensei nor Rika-chan had anything to say to that. So then I guess as the audience now, our thought is she actually being abused by her uncle now? From what we've seen, it definitely seems like a yes. But I'm trying to think if there's any possible way to understand that what Keiichi saw there in a way that isn't abusive. You know what I mean? Granted, all Keiichi saw was bruises and her being forced to do some pretty exploitative and horrible, things for her father's sake. But fucking hell, this sucks. I still maintain Sadako gets one free kill, though. That hasn't changed, actually. I am actually more in favor of this. Anyway, yesterday, a probation officer visited to carefully determine what was going on. And Sadako dealt with them, put on the best, strongest smile she could manage, and denied the abuse. Oh, wait, no, it's probably not Chie saying this. And Sadako dealt with them, put on the best, strongest smile she could manage, and denied the abuse. Of course, she was probably being threatened to keep quiet about it by her uncle. She was trying to outlast everything without asking for help. Sadako wanted to wait for Satoshi to come back home, and she outright denied the truth of the abuse. What an idiot. What? You're not really enduring it. Do you really think pretending like this will actually bring Satoshi back? Just stop it already. Satoshi, he abandoned you. The fact that he hasn't shown up to save you now is proof, isn't it? So just stop it. Please stop being weird and pretending to endure it. Did Satoshi leave because he became an old enough to be out on his own? And he's like, I can't help with Sadako anymore. But also, the abuse at her aunt and uncle's hands did seem to be real, as other people were reporting.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, this is complicated. R07, right? A normal narrative challenge. Difficulty literally impossible. Forget everything we just said. Do you understand? If you tell anyone else, your teacher will be very mad with you. Chie-sensei gave me a warning, then left to go back to the teacher's lounge. Why do they call it the teacher's lounge when it is... I guess it is, instead of teachers with the apostrophe after the S, it's teachers with the apostrophe before the S, lounge. Singular plural teacher's lounge, not plural teacher's lounge.
Keiichi.
Or singular possessive. is what I meant, not plural possessed. Yeah.
Keiichi, please don't think Sadako is a pathetic, pitiful girl.
Oh.
She's living life. She's...
I know that. She's our irreplaceable friend.
Sadako is still trying her best. Let's watch over her a little longer. The person from the consultation center said they'd visit periodically from now on. If something terrible happens, they'll help her right away.
Yes, that's true, but only after it happens. Any more than that would have sounded like I was picking a fight, so I firmly swallowed my next words and went back to the classroom. Mion and Rena were talking to Sadako like they always did. It was a silly conversation. A humorous, even fun one, like it was any old day. If Sadako really said she could still endure it, then maybe I should do as Rika-chan said and watch over her. Maybe whatever help I offer will just go unwanted. Ugh! This sucks. You're right, I probably won't be able to make any theories about this. This is just awful. I'm having a rotten time. I wanted happy fun murder hour, not...
Here's the thought, though. Did anything we learned just change anything?
Not really. But it doesn't have to change anything. But it definitely does give... It makes everything a bit more foggy, because now there's the layer of, oh, is she telling the truth or not? And it's like...
But, think about it. Does it make anything more foggy? What is she saying?
She's saying that there's no abuse going on and that she...
Yeah, she's not saying she's abused.
Yeah.
So, if you doubt her, the conclusion would be the same one we already have.
That's
That's the part that sucks. Everyone's like, oh, this child lies and is a problem child, and therefore we need to doubt everything she says. But they don't. She says it's fine and they believe her. It's other people reporting the abuse. Right?
Dear God, I hadn't even considered that angle. That's fucked up. Holy shit.
It's the classic, they mark you down as a problem child and then you go in the ignore bin. It doesn't even matter if there's practical reasons to not believe what's going on. If there were reasons not to believe a word she said, it wouldn't change anything about the situation that's just been reported.
I hate this. I hate this so much. What have they done to my gremlin? No! I need a Sadako Fumo. That's what I need. Those have to exist somewhere, right?
Maybe.
I need one. I need one so I can tell it it'll be okay now. And that it's allowed to murder me if it wants, just once.
Okay, why don't we all have lunch?
Meep. Haha. It's been a while since it's been all 5 of us. This really is how it has to be. Here. Come on, you too, Kei-chan. Bring your desk over.
Ugh. Sadako brought her own desk over as well, grinning broadly. Even knowing nothing had been resolved, this exchange was pleasant and made me remember how fun it used to be.
Can't have Rika making a bento for me forever, can I?
I don't mind. I have fun making your bento.
Aww. Get you someone who has fun making your bento. Rika-chan's such a good girl. Having such a good friend must be so reassuring.
I put the big steak in mine and the burned one in Sadako's. So if it was just Sadako, it would be so sad. So very sad. Nipa.
I take it back. Well, she's Rika-chan after all. You can't
just get out of everything by saying ni pa, you know.
It keeps working. Hey, come on, look. I've got omelette rice today. Mushrooms and stuff are delicious. Delicious.
Are those hallucinogenic mushrooms, Rena?
I say it every time, but your craftsmanship is indeed splendid, and so are these hallucinogenic mushrooms. You can become a wife whenever and not have a problem.
A wife? A wife? Eating a wife?
What? Rena, what does that mean? Rena, I don't understand. I'm a child. What does it mean to eat a wife? Rena, I'm confused. I'm a child. Tell me. Rena!
Using the word wife is totally forbidden around Rena. Please don't say it again.
I'll think about what I've done. A little.
By the way, what's in your lunch, Mion? Looks different again today. We're all waiting in anticipation.
It's a rich assortment of side dishes left over from what my uncle brought last night.
Which uncle?
The stew looks really great, huh? The color of the radishes, too. Really good, right? Wow, it looks delicious.
Stew tastes best when it's left overnight. This looks like it would be really good. And so there'll be none left for Sadako. I'll eat it all and tell you what I think, so just be quiet and watch.
What was that? Hand over my portion as well.
Elbow, punch, headbutt. I'll use my knees too, or yeah!
At close range like this, my advantage is unwavering. Keiichi-san, the daikon in your portion tastes really good, you know?
Damn it. Coming right for me from the start and using a combo attack. How humiliating. This little exchange, how long had it been? Looked like they'd ended up going with the wait and see approach, but maybe her uncle had realized he'd gone a little too far and would dial it back now? If her treatment improved a little, would that be a good thing? Sadako was grinning wider than I'd ever seen as she chomped down on her mouthful of the daikon she'd plundered from me. Did it really taste that good? Sadako was somewhat cute like that, and just as I'd done many times, I grabbed her head and started petting it. Ow! Catch! Smack! Flip-flop! Clatter! Clatter!
I put thumbtacks on my head now just to stop you from doing that.
Huh?
Sadako-chan?
It was so sudden that for a moment I didn't know what had happened. The back of my hand was still stinging. I went to pet Sadako's head and then she hit my hand?
What's wrong, Sadako?
Sadako was scratching at her head as though a pimple or something had appeared on it and become itchy. It was so sudden and so unprovoked that I didn't understand what had happened. What's wrong, Sadako? At some point her body had been covered in a thin layer of sweat, and her breathing had turned ragged. When I pet her head, did she not like it? Was that what it meant? Hey, did you dislike being petted? I'm sorry. Once again, I slowly held out the palm of my hand and brought it close to Sadako's head. The instant the palm of my hand touched her head, there was a shock like static electricity and Sadako began to howl. Does she have a bruise up there? Thud, slam. She grabbed my arm in both hands and as if flinging off a snake trying to cling to her, as if trying to throw away something dirty, she threw it violently. It happened too suddenly for me to react. I hit the desk behind me and both it and I fell to the floor. The classroom fell deathly silent. As Sadako bellowed, it sounded like she was in the throes of death, and she unsteadily backed away. Then she threw up the food she had just eaten. What the fuck? She vomited it all back up. Splish, splat, the sound of Sadako's vomit hitting the floor rang through the classroom. Are you okay, Sadako? You seem sick. I reached out a hand and she swatted it away with all her might. With such extreme strength that I fell onto the floor again. Sadako put both hands on her head as though protecting it, groaned some more and took a few steps back. Then she began swinging both hands around. Students in nearby seats were forced to evacuate. She grabbed anything within reach, bento boxes, chairs, threw them, tossed them, and flung them about.
Wait, stop it, Sadako. What's wrong with you?
She screamed out as if Mion's words had caused her physical pain. No one spoke a word to her. All the students were withdrawing behind us, leaving Sadako alone in the corner of the classroom. Around her there were desks and chairs all over the floor. Bento lay scattered. It was terrible. All I could hear was Sadako's ragged breaths and the voices of the cicadas. I'm sorry. The strings of tension loosened around Sadako, and maybe she suddenly grew scared of her own actions because she started trembling and gave a word of apology. But no one knew who the apology was directed towards. So for now, I decided to answer as everyone's representative. It's fine. No, it's okay. Are you all right, Sadako? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Our words didn't match each other at all. Sadako hugged her shoulders and back she went. Bang! She ran into the locker with the cleaning supplies in it. Even that made her give a little yelp. The impact caused the bucket atop the locker to fall, making a loud sound, and that scared Sadako most of all. She almost jumped out of her skin, grabbing a bunch of the curtain in her hands. No one spoke to her. They could only look, not even remembering to blink.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Sadako, what? What on earth? I stood up, took a step away from everyone, and approached Sadako. What happened?
I said, I don't know. You're wrong. Please stop. Please forgive me.
Just calm down. Sadako, do you know who I am?
No more anymore. I hate this.
Every time I took a step forward, she grasped the curtains more tightly and cried out. Sadako, it's me. It's Keiichi. Don't you recognize me? I never hurt you.
No.
Come on, calm down. It's all right. I'm your friend.
Help me. I don't want to be scared. Feels bad now. I don't want to.
Suddenly, my shoulders were grabbed and I was dragged backward. It was Rena.
Sorry, Keiichi-kun. You get a little farther back.
After pulling me back, she ran towards Sadako in my place.
It's okay, Sadako-chan. There's nothing to be scared of. Please, don't worry.
No more. No more of that. Nini, help me. Nini, help me.
As she grabbed the curtains and kept calling for Nini, she continued to wail about being forgiven for something and to be saved from something. What is this? Mion gnashed her teeth and groaned, and there were tears falling from her firmly closed eyes. What the hell? What is this? Didn't this all come to an end yesterday? Weren't we supposed to go back to our old lives? Mion! Crash! It was a crazy sound. Ren had taken the cleaning supply locker and kicked it down to the ground. Everyone stood surprised at Rena's unexpected act of brutality. After that, Rena embraced the bawling Sadako from behind and started crying with her, stifled. Rena, what's wrong?
Sorry, Keiichi-kun, be quiet for a minute.
What is it now? What happened? What did Sadako tell you? What did you hear?
Shut the hell up. I told you to shut your mouth, asshole.
Rena's raw, hostile emotion hit me like a brick. It was no more than a momentary howl of emotion for Rena, but it was more than that for me. She had shown me what was behind all that emotion, what was in her heart.
Sadako-chan.
No more. No more.
Forgive us. We couldn't do anything for you. Forgive us.
Nini.
I think this is...
Click it. I'm sorry.
Forgive us for being unable to do anything. Rena's words made me feel as though the blood vessels in the back of my head were suddenly all turning to ash. My vision grew distant, blurred with gray, and the world lost its color. I thought we could save Sadako, but though I knew that'd be sooner the better, I thought there was no time limit for doing that. Never even dreamed that we could be too late. I'd been making a huge mistake. I thought Sadako could be hurt, but never that she'd break. Such a huge mistake, people. People, they break. Thinking they don't is absolutely absurd. We needed to save Sadako. We needed to save her before she broke. The fatal lapse in awareness had brought this on. Whose fault was it? That went without saying. Mine. No, ours. We all took on the duty of saving Sadako, but we were negligent to the point of laziness. I don't think this is helpful, Keiichi. I'm gonna have a lot to say after the scene is over, but I wanted to make sure, Keiichi, this ain't helpful, buddy. In that sense, this was the inevitable result. Even if this didn't happen today and it happened tomorrow or the day after or next week, we would have just sat around doing nothing until that day. This was the obvious result. I slumped down to my knees, just as Mion and Rika-chan had done, and I too closed my eyes tight and couldn't stop myself from sobbing. What the hell is all this noise about? Wait, what's happened? The teacher came and her face screwed up at the terrible spectacle before her. The instant she realized the teacher was here, Sadako went through another complete change. She wiped her face with the curtains, and, like nothing had happened, she smiled. Hojo-san, what on earth is going on here?
I just got into a little squabble with Rena-san is all. We all went a little crazy over our lunches, right?
Rena didn't nod in reply, but then since Sadako wished it, she nodded without strength. The rest of the class couldn't keep up with her extreme changes. We all just stared in a daze.
It was just a little horseplay. I scared everyone out of their wits.
Sadako would probably sweep the whole thing under the rug. And for what? Her heart is torn to pieces, so what? What else? You wanted your Nini to help, didn't you? Unfortunately for you, Satoshi doesn't ever intend on coming back. It's never that easy. He won't just conveniently show up and save you. You don't have to wait for him anymore. You can cry, beg for help, and you can run away. Ugh!
We can't do anything.
Mion suddenly said. She spoke then those few words that had tormented me countless times. Those words were a spell, and when I heard them, my whole body suddenly regained its calm. My emotions all slipped away like they'd never been there, like a wave departing. And then, the world's color flipped inside out. My field of view expanded. My head grew remarkably cold, and I felt my mind's volume had grown even wider than the classroom we were in. At the time, my soul was doubtlessly no longer in the small, petty vessel of my head, but floating in the air a little bit above it. It was a mysterious feeling of release. I broke free of the cramped confines of my skull and stretched out my roots in all directions as far as I wanted to. It was a strange feeling and one I'd never felt before. An odd sense of exhilaration. My sharpened senses caused me to transcend. My mind was sharper than a knife's edge, and I immediately decided that spending time to let myself be crushed with grief would be an absolute waste. I erased all the garbage information from my brain. I expelled the pointless emotions presenting obstacles to action. Mion, you curse it all you want. Curse our powerlessness as much as you want.
Huh?
If I could have taken back what had happened by crying about it, I have cried all day. Fact was, this was how things had turned out. I couldn't take back what had happened. The top priority then would be to prevent the situation from worsening further and to sever the chains of misfortune. Until today, I've been looking at things so narrow-mindedly I could scarcely believe it. To save Sadako, the only thing to do was to save Sadako. That's the only thing I thought about. I didn't allow myself to realize the most basic, direct, and certain way of removing the source of Sadako's unhappiness. Actually, I realized it yesterday. As for the means, I'd relied on some stupid curse from some dumb deity. I never considered carrying out the task myself. I would obliterate Sadako's uncle. There were plenty of ways to do it. This was a task that held infinite methods. Ironically, the method of saving Sadako required mostly money, but the method of killing that man pretty much took no money at all. I could kill him with the least amount of investment. The least amount of money suited him. It was only the weight of his life. I kept eliminating needless, worthless information from my head, replenishing it with the only knowledge I'd need to achieve my goal. I used every cell in my brain to think about how I would kill him. The way I killed him did not matter. I would allow any method from whatever time and whatever country as long as it ended in a quick and certain death. If I were to have an additional condition, it would be not to get caught. Removing him was an act designed to return the peaceful times we had with Sadako. If I was arrested in exchange for the removal, then we might as well have killed each other. With only him gone, we'd go back to our normal lives. That was my supreme objective, my ultimate goal. Kill him definitively. But definitely won't leave evidence either. Two alternatives at odds with one another. The condition of not leaving a trace back to me automatically narrowed the number of murder methods. No witnesses was an absolute must. Fortunately, given the right time in Hinamizawa, there would be nobody around. I mentally reconstructed the land around Sadako's house, the number of pedestrians different at all times, the movement algorithm of the neighbors. Would I lure him out or charge at him? What would my weapon be? When and where would I carry this out? Where? It needed to be somewhere where I wouldn't leave a trace. When? It needed to be as soon as possible for Sadako's safety without even wasting a millisecond. This is absurd, completely absurd. When I thought about it this way, it struck me how easy the act of killing actually was. If I could leave evidence, if I was just going to kill him, anyone could easily turn into a murderer, but our reason prevented that. I told us doing so would get us arrested for sure. In the end, being arrested by the police was the final thing preventing people from committing homicide. Absurd! If you went all the way out into the very middle of the ocean, you wouldn't leave any trace at all. Anyone would drop those they hated into the depths if they knew that. It was all too easy to simply remove him. I could leave class right now, grab a metal baseball bat or something from the schoolyard, go to his house, and attack him. Estimated time would be 25 minutes. If I wanted us to kill each other, it wouldn't even be minutes. I could do it in 1,500 seconds. I knew just how much his continued existence depended on me. He was nothing. I could expel him from this world within 1,500 seconds after making up my mind. But when I decided what to do, he only had 1,500 seconds. Actually, if I ran full speed to his house, that number would go down even further. But he was alive. He was still a part of this world at this very moment, having torn Sadako's body and mind to shreds. Why? Because I was letting him live. I was permitting him to live, so he was alive. If I rescinded that permission, he would be evacuating this mortal coil within 1,500 seconds. You think that I let you live to breathe even 1,500 more seconds of air? I'm taking that permission back right here and now. You'd better thank me for letting you live until today. However, I actually needed more than 1,500 seconds. I'm not just going to end you. Getting back our old lives is far more important. It's only you I'll be cleanly cutting out of this world. They won't find a culprit. I'll forget that I dirtied my hands on the likes of you as naturally as I brush my teeth before bed. So to do that, I'll make a special exception for you and give you more than 1,500 seconds. If I give you special permission to keep on living as you have until I can reconstruct the perfect plan for your murder. Wait, Keiichi, you can't let that time go to waste. Yeah, I know. I'll kill him quickly. I'll remove him with certainty. I won't even waste much time to perfect that plan. Think back, tomorrow is Watanagashi, isn't it? Last year on the night of Watanagashi, her aunt died. Her head was busted open by some deviant and her brains splattered everywhere. That's it. He's someone who deserves to be given death on the night of Watanagashi. Hey, well, Yoshiro-sama, you call yourself a guardian, but you don't protect Sadako. Cursing Sadako's family for the damn stuff is your own business, but now you've made Sadako unhappy when she didn't have anything to do with it. I, Keiichi Maebara, hereby denounce you, the guardian deity of Hinamizawa, as a failure. We don't need you. Go back to the deepest, darkest part of your shrine this year. Besides, if you had just cursed and killed both her aunt and her uncle last year, none of this would have ever have happened. The curse this year, it's not on you. I'll be the one deciding. It won't be the three families controlling the serial deaths behind the scenes. No, not some vague people who I can't tell if they're buffoons or not. This time, I will be the one to deliver divine judgment. So don't get in my way. You just watch. You just stay quiet and watch. I will obliterate him. I will wipe him off the face of the earth. I will stomp out his very existence. Go away! Disappear and die! I'll tear your heart apart just like you did to Sadako! I'll have your blood as payment. Ah!
Keiichi's having a normal one.
Okay, so well, we're going to add that to the list of things to talk about at the end of the scene. Let's just get through it first.
Keiichi-kun, are you all right?
Rena, Mio, and Enrico-chan were looking after me. Had I fallen to the floor?
You surprised us. You suddenly fell down. Were you having a nightmare? You were moaning.
Oh, I was just pulling into dissociation station for a moment. Shut it. Quit speaking at me like that.
We didn't say speaking.
Quit squeaking at me like that.
Eep.
My friends gave a start and backed away. What is it? Oh.
What?
Ren and the others, they exchanged glances, unsure of what to say, and stood confused for a few moments.
Was that your voice, Keiichi-kun?
Of course it was. Rena gulped firmly and opened her mouth.
For a second, Keiichi-kun, your eyes were really scary.
My eyes? Probably just a trick of the light. Don't waste my time.
I'm not mistaken. I've never seen those kind of eyes before.
What were these guys talking about? They've all been too scared of me lately.
You are Keiichi Maebara-kun, right?
What? What was Rena saying? Who else do I look like except Keiichi Maebara? The look I gave her seemed to speak quite eloquently to those irritated thoughts. She understood and quickly apologized.
I'm sorry. Don't worry about it.
Uh-huh.
So,
All right. Ugh. I know there's going to be tips and stuff. Let's just take a second here.
yeah.
Hopefully this is the end of the chapter, right? Are we? Yeah,
Yep.
okay. Cool. First thing, what are we thinking? 1,500 seconds is the name of the achievement, which, holy fuck, that's... All right.
Keiichi finally going full unfettered and realizing that...
Yep. So, but let's start at the beginning, though. Sadako reacts when he pats on her head, right?
Yep.
And then she has a very long and proactive kind of state where it's... I'm not someone who is super knowledgeable about trauma and the ways it manifests, so I'm going to give my view on it, but please take it with a grain of salt and like be aware that I could be completely wrong, please. It seems like something about the act of him placing his hand on her head was triggering for Sadako. And then maybe that brought something back that she hadn't, had been kind of dissociating from for a while. Given what she was saying while she was reacting, and like her specific actions, I have a dreadful feeling about what might have occurred between her and her uncle last night. It seems like they came, they left, and then her uncle did something. At a minimum, her uncle likely beat her. But given Sadako's particular phrasing at times, I almost wonder if what occurred actually was assault. Sexual assault. Sadako then reacts to as maybe like kind of dissociated or something and managed to get through the morning, but as soon as Keiichi performs that action, placing his hand upon her head, which likely recalls something that happened earlier with her uncle, that brings back all of that trauma in that moment. And her screaming, crying, vomiting. Whew. Okay. Rena,
Yeah?
for her part, as well, seems to have either seen stuff like this before or know how to deal with it. But it seems like she's encountered something like some kind of traumatic reaction like that before, either in someone she knew or from her herself, and is doing what she thinks is best. Because the way she spoke with authority towards Keiichi, like, Keiichi, you're not helping, get back, you asshole, made it seem like she needed to take charge of the situation and do something, and Keiichi was not helping. We already knew Keiichi wasn't helping, but, like...
He's good at that.
He's good at that. But in the sense that, like, there are steps that need to be taken in order to help someone in this situation.
Yep.
It also seems like Sadako has it in somewhere that letting a teacher see things would be horrible.
Yep. Gotta put the mask back on around adults.
Yep. And, like, very, very quickly putting the mask back on around adults. Which means that she was, I'm guessing, threatened, like, if you ever tell anyone about it again, it's going to be worse or something. Okay. And then Keiichi Maebara has a fucking trip to dissociation station as well.
And just very quickly becomes a sociopath all of a sudden.
Yeah, I don't think... I'm not going to speak to how, like, narratively it was delivered versus how real life someone would come to those conclusions. But yeah, Keiichi, in that moment, just complete sociopath. To the point where, like, his friends even notice something's different about him. Like, that look in his eyes, right? That is... I don't think there's any doubt that what Sadako is experiencing is abuse.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any more. I don't think there's any ambiguity to that. Even if you want to play the Sadako was lying in the past and has been lying all along card, that reaction is not indicative of someone who is without trauma. And that's an action Keiichi has taken towards her in the past as well, without this kind of reaction to it. Right? He has pet her hair many times.
Yep.
And she has found affection in that, which means that something new is now associated with that. Again, I would take. Please see the disclaimer at the beginning of this discussion. Which means it probably happened last night. The only other way you could interpret that scene if your plan is to remove any kind of trauma at all from that, you'd have to explain. So then the entire scene is just Sadako and the rest of the kids putting on an act and stopping as soon as Chie-sensei walks in, which is kind of ridiculous. So, right, sociopath Keiichi. We've seen that Keiichi does have the capacity to murder. We see Keiichi talking to himself a lot, and a lot of, like, addressing himself, talking about the person within, the self within himself. In the past, though, like, it's in chapter 1 when we were seeing it, it was like he blacks out and lets them take over, right? Is how he described it at the time. It's like watching the TV, but, not really seeing what's there. I wonder if what we're seeing here is a more dramatic version of that, where, like, the him who is capable of killing is, like, this sociopathic part of him that he more or less keeps under wraps, but is nonetheless present. Kind of maybe a way to relate it would be like someone mentioned offhand how Shion has a sadistic side that she usually keeps under wraps, right? Maybe it's something similar to that. But it's important also to note that, like, they're still both Keiichi Maebara, right? People have multiple faces. That's one of the themes of this game, and we're finally getting a clearer look at what Keiichi's other face actually is. Not the blameless bystander, Keiichi Maebara, who seems to mean well and can't do anything, but the Keiichi Maebara who is not as far away as one would hope from going complete sociopath and deciding to murder someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you'd like to add?
Not really.
Okay. Did I overstep anything anywhere? I thought I was pretty reasoned and measured. I tried not to.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay. Let's read some tips. You want to read some tips? I want to read new tips. June 18th, 1983. Abuse issues regarding Sadako Hojo. Urgent. We propose that Sadako Hojo must be taken into immediate custody based on the items below. 1. Family situation. Life with adopted father who recently returned to Hinamizawa has already turned disastrous. She's currently subject to unendurable physical and mental abuse from the father. 2. Child Consultation Center's response. A child probation officer was dispatched yesterday on the 17th from the Prefecture Welfare Office. Because of the 77 case, changed to continued coaching and cautionary action. Unfortunately, the consultation office head does not properly understand the situation. 3. Status of concerned child. Child already appears to be suffering from an outbreak of something close to neurosis or manic depression. If her unstable pubescent mind is negatively stimulated by stress, it will put her development of a healthy body and mind at risk. This cannot be allowed to continue from a humane standpoint. 4. Allegations made to the family court. We propose, based on the above items, that Sadako Hojo should immediately be taken into protective custody. She should be secured temporarily under emergency allegation to the family court under Article 28. We request emergency coordination between all related agencies.
So that seems like a more positive step.
That seems very decisive, but we'll see how that goes. There was a whole lot of requests in there.
Yeah, there are a whole lot of requests.
D23 number 44, right?
Yep.
Or D2-3 number 44. Children with special needs, general, D2-3 number 44. Redacted date 1977. Child name, Sadako Hojo. Redacted years old. Residence, redacted Hinamizawa Village, Shishibone. 1. Consultation circumstances. Telephone SOS from child of child abuse. Oh, this is the old one.
Yeah, this is the old one that was referenced in the previous case file.
Okay. So this is the one that was referenced as her lying.
Yep.
2. Abuse situation. Child claims she's being physically abused by her adopted father. 3. Family structure with bullets marking abusers. Adopted father is marked, real mother, older brother, child in question. Note, adopted father and real mother entered family registry in 19 redacted. Child is the daughter of the mother's previous husband. 4. Child Consultation Center's response. On the day of the child's telephone consultation, the center called the child's school and asked of her situation. On that day, the child welfare officer on duty visited the child's house and conducted an interview. Adoptive father sincerely listened to instruction and agreed to take child-raising workshops in the city from now on. As part of the suggested coaching, the center will continue to observe the situation. 5. Other notes. As a result of numerous counseling sessions at the city's education consultation office regarding the child, we learned that there is a high possibility the cause of the child's excessive distrust towards her adopted father was the result of a lack of communication. The abuse she claimed hadn't actually taken place. She had made a false report to distance herself from her adopted father. Below is a note written in pencil by the person on duty at the time. The problem appeared to be more with the daughter. Chief Investigator F of the city's education consultation office said that most of her stories of abuse were likely fabrications. Chief Investigator F. Okay. They decided to shift the focus of their coaching to the child. Be cautious not to take everything the child says as truth. I do not envy the people who have to make those decisions.
Yep.
I do not envy because surely there are cases where a child is lying about that. Surely that must be the case at some point. But I don't envy the person who has to make that moral judgment of, do I think the child is lying here or not, in order to receive help them in abuse. Oh, this is ugly. I'm just going to end the episode. Bye, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.